are, seeing if enough people would be interested or whether people are happy with the sandwiches. And see, so basically, I imagine the packages are made in the morning, so it'd be the day's salad bar items that would just get maybe put in a little pot with your sandwich or instead of sandwich. Speak to the right people.
I personally think that, and catering would appreciate this too, hearing from a multitude of people, like, I understand Amy's very passionate about this, but that is one opinion, and if there were a lot of the same opinions, if I could take all of those opinions at once towards catering, I'm sure there'd be a change able to be implemented. And so what I would do is, if I heard a couple of complaints from a few people, or even just one major complaint from one person, go around and find similar complaints from other people, and then take all of them together and show with a huge backing from the JCR that we needed change in this.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Jess?
Please, can you talk a bit about your experience in running and helping with college events?
Yeah, personally, I have designed the logo for the last 2 winter solstices, and in my first year, I was quite good friends with Matt Mutton, so I helped him out with a couple of paperworky type things, but I designed a couple of the posters for some of the formals as well. I think, unfortunately, formals for me are normally on a Tuesday night, and so I can't stay late because I play rugby on Wednesday, but I've been able to help out once with Clear Up and seen how much of a hassle it absolutely is, and so I want to make that process maybe a bit easier, but I understand it's probably not too much to change it. So like I said, I've been on ENTS since I arrived here. So I've been to most of the meetings, obviously. But so yeah, all the decisions about what themes, voted for themes, helped make the cardboard decorations. I was room leader for one of the rooms of Solstice, it was not themed, and I blew up 400 balloons in one afternoon. I was on Colin Day Committee as well, helped do t-shirts for that. I think ENTS is the most obvious way.
Thank you. Kaz?
Warning, I've got a lot of them. Okay, first one. Being VP over the last years meant that I've had to make a lot of decisions where I've had to choose between my friends and my responsibilities as VP and the people that I represent. How do you think you'd be able to handle that?
I think it should be okay for me. I'm quite used to, I am committed to college in so many ways, and it does get in the way. On a Friday night, I'm in a coffee shop, I'm not down at Nova, and I'm used to making sacrifices and making tough decisions that prioritise the commitments you have here of your social life and just friends. Sometimes you might not be happy with those decisions, but you make a commitment and you're on with it. So.
I personally moved halfway across the world to come to university, and left behind a lot of my best friends and hear from them all the time about how much they hate me for it. So I'm used to my friends not being too pleased with me, but making it up to them in my own little way. And so I think I'm the type of person who can definitely prioritise correctly and know that I have responsibilities as a VP, and those have to come first most of the time, unless, of course, it's a dire situation.
I've got max 4, I swear. Okay, being vice president, although it's the main part of the job, it's not all about the formals. How do you think you'd be able to maintain the balance between the 4 key areas of the job?
Again, I think I prioritise and I make lists of different things. And so I know formals are a large part, as you said, but the others do have importance. And so even if they're things that may only show up once a term, dedicate as much time as possible in that time period to them. Just in order to balance my time and set everything on the list with the same importance, even if formals take over just the majority of it.
So yeah, I think it's quite understandable that formals, because they are such big events and people have a lot more immediate interaction with those. Things like post do get neglected, like the post system, Liversac post is just a disaster. No one comes to get it, and I don't really think Liversac know that it goes there. So I think I am aware of the other demands. It's not just about organising formals and making formal invites and table plans, that you've got to go and change the post and make sure people come and get it. You've got to speak to Phoenix about staff, you shouldn't talk to Sam about catering and stuff.
Sorry.
Do I keep going?
Yeah, no,
cool. Sorry, I was right. Okay, there's one more after this. Okay. Being VP for me it's caused me to have a lot of sleepless nights. It is a stressful position, and I would never ever deny that. Would you be able to give an example of how you've handled something or a situation that has caused that much pressure upon your life? I didn't say it was easy. Okay, well, how do you think you've handled it?
I think I do deal quite well with a lot of stress. Like my day-to-day life, I tend to be stressed about. I can't stress about working or stress about everything. I think it's more of a thing that drives me forward than gets in my way. Like if I'm ever not stressed, it's more of a concern rather than if I am stressed. Or I think is it weird to say every day? Yeah, I don't know. Worry about little things that I think is actually would be a benefit. Personally, I think the most stressful year of my life so far was my final year of high school. I was the student council president. I played rugby for 2 different teams. I played 4 other sports. I also volunteered with the Beavers Group, was a girl guide. I worked at a kids' summer camp in my holidays, and I did a leadership program in order to make sure I was the best kids' summer camp counselor I could possibly be, and still managed to maintain my grades enough to come to Durham, which amazed myself. And I think the fact that I was able to balance all of those things and still somehow get at least 6 hours of sleep a night proves I'm the type of person who prioritizes my time and uses my time effectively to manage my stress. And I am, on Wednesday night, I was in the library till 1:30 because I'd spent Monday and Tuesday writing my manifesto instead of doing a lab report that was due on Thursday. So on Wednesday night, I was in the library trying to power out this lab report instead of going out with my rugby friends like I normally do. And so I'm able to put in that time that's extra to just balance everything out, even if I don't have enough hours in the day.
Last one, I promise. What have I done badly? Love you.
I think what don't know if you can say
Yeah.
When you took on this position, I know you made a last-minute decision to take on this position. In fact, the deadline was extended. But you didn't, you put in little changes and then nothing too revolutionary to change the position. And as much as I agree with that, I think we need to continue on those little changes and push them just that little bit further that maybe you wish you could have but haven't been able to do. Just, I don't know why, but...
So I know I mentioned posts, and I don't know why it seems to bother me so much. Posts is really messy. And lives out post just builds up, and I know it's something that's it's no one ever has to deal with that before, so that's why it takes a while to get used to. And also not using social media as much around formals. I know that last year we used to have events, and the JCR Karma was used a lot more.
Tori.
Services works with VP posts because the product looks so often. It's currently an endless cycle where there's nothing we can do about it because college makes us do it, and yet it's causing us some extreme financial burden. And as a result, we're currently looking at another option. Do you have a way that we can cut down the financial costs of maintaining the shop while making sure everyone gets the parcels and posts?
It's a big ask. It's pretty cool. I don't know, because it is done by people that primarily they apply to the shop, they want to work in the shop, then they're a postman, they're not, that's not what they, I don't really know if I have any commercial plan. I know that obviously this has been a thing, I know that freshers used to have to sort the post once a week and something like that just isn't feasible, and it makes kind of sense to have someone that's down there anyway just trying to do it in half an hour, but that's not working. So whether we can have one session where it's done after exec meetings or after services meetings, or where people isn't more than one person just sitting and sorting through everybody's single post. But obviously it's such a big issue and it involves so many people that you wouldn't immediately think that services, finances was affected by how smoothly the post was going, and how many other things that can affect. So it needs so many people to sit down and kind of just hammer it out. I think that would be the most important thing, is to get all those people together and actually talk about it properly, dedicate an actual time to sort it out.
It definitely is a large issue, and I know it's one of those things like in Freshers Week, I voluntarily sorted all of the posts because there's no one working the shop, and it's not something that anybody should have to volunteer for, and not anything that anybody would ever want to volunteer for. If there was a possible way of making an incentive for doing it, if we could have like post officers, and then they could have some kind of incentive, such as for like the bigger formals, maybe like a guaranteed seat or little things like that, just to give people a reason to help out and a new way to deal with this issue. Could be something to be looked at, but it's definitely a meeting that needs to be sat down and have, and just a brainstorm of different ideas that could potentially deal with it.